I'm driving to charge my electric car. It's my second electric car, my third car with Lyft. I've been on the Lyft platform 3 years. This is my third summer, and I'm in trouble financially and at the risk of losing this car, and I can't lose this car.
ご意向、愛想、ご利益、ご大、ご法、恩赦徳の御ために。南無法蓮華経、南無法蓮華経、南無法蓮華経。南無本人名の教主、一心即三人、三人即一心、三世上合のご利益。
So one of my frustrations is I did drive a truck. And I didn't just drive a truck, it was my whole life. It's a drive-through. Not all Starbucks are drive-through. And there's cars stacked up. And just think every one of these people are just coming here to get a latte or a coffee. And there's bumper-to-bumper traffic out there. And this is just a horrible time to drive. And that's one of the reasons why I don't want to drive this hour. But every minute I'm not driving, I'm losing revenue. I've got 98% on my electric car, and I'm about ready to turn on Matthew right now.
Illusion.
I know.
Me, I gotta admit again, sometimes reality, it's not enough for me. I feel like I need more than reality to get off to sometimes. I have unrealistic expectations of others and the world around me a lot of times. And when they don't live up to my expectations, I start chasing a false existence. All right? And before I know it, I start chasing a false utopia, one that doesn't even exist. And before I know it, I'm living on an illusion and I'm missing out on reality. This life. Now look, I'm all for the notion that, hey, if you ain't impressed with your reality, then create a reality that you're impressed with. Yay. I'm all for having dreams and the spirit of shooting for the stars. But not at the exclusion of missing out on the reality of the day. So let's admit it. Let's admit where we maybe don't have appropriate expectations on a day-to-day basis of the world and of ourselves. Let's admit that maybe we're missing out on the truths, the beauties, and the tools of the day that are right in front of us. And let's admit that those very truths, beauties, and tools, those are what we're going to need to build that rocket ship to get us to those stars that we're shooting for. The ones we're trying to reach. That is not an illusion. That is reality. Admit it. Let's talk about complacency. Can we admit all the times we say, oh, well, that's just what it is, so I'm going to go with it? Can we admit where and when that we're not ambitious enough? Admit those times that we hesitated to actually find out because we feared failure. Times we didn't give ourselves enough credit for our ability. Times we put a self-made ceiling over our head when we didn't really have a right to do so. Can we admit when and where we blamed others for not getting the success that we wanted? Politicians, government, economy, banks, or boss. Admit it. Our greatest strengths can also be our greatest weaknesses. This one just came to me like 6 months ago. I don't know why it took 52 and a half years to figure it out, but sure. You ever notice how your greatest assets and strengths can also be your greatest Achilles heel? All right, me. All right, one of my greatest strengths happens to be resilience. Now, I fall down, I get up and dust myself off like that. I step in a pile of shit. I keep running while I'm cleaning that shit off my shoe on the go. All right? But that can turn into one of my biggest downfalls. Being a repeat offender.
And there was a definite beginning, like everything else, a big middle, million miles of driving with two different companies. A lot of history related to the truck driving. It's like if I lose this car, I'm dead. It's like checkmate. Now, there is at least the possibility that I can save this car, and a lot depends on what literally happens between now 3 o'clock in the afternoon and 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, Monday. Every single Monday forever, my Lyft business rental business will reset, meaning I will owe $420 on this car. That's the bad news. The good news is what's different about Lyft versus Hoover. I don't have to pay the $420 in the form of a credit card payment before I can drive next week. In fact, regardless of what happens today, I will be able to drive this car next week. But the key point, this is really important, it depends how much I drive next week will depend on how much money I have to charge this car. That's the bottom line. I traded my 2017 Subaru Impreza, which I own, and I primarily used it to drive from my Arizona City house, 14380 South Capistrano Road, to drive to the night terminal in Phoenix, which is about 57 miles away. Hello, everyone out there listening, audience. This is Adam, and this is Lou.
Hello.
These are very special. I got to try to get them. These are very special people. When I was sleeping in my car 3 years ago, they were my first new best friends, and I was transparent. I told them I sleep in my car, and they just loved me for who I was. An old dude. And Adam,
a nice guy. You're nice.
they're like, if I was to have children, they would be my kids. Of course, that's Eric's daughter. She was born when about the time, pretty close when I almost said fluid. I just tell Lou that one of my best friends owns Fluid Coffee Bar, but this is St. Mark's. St. Mark's is a special place. They serve coffee and beer. What Starbucks?
Coffee and beer.
And they're open from 6:30 till 10 o'clock at night. And they have dudes like Gino that's been working here like 15 years. And Michael, 20 years. What Starbucks has people working 15 or 20 years and they serve coffee and beer? Anyway, thanks guys.
Love you.
I love these guys.
We love you.
They let me stay after and have. I shouldn't say it. I won't say it. I won't say it.
Don't tell the secret.
No. I won't say anything that gets you guys in trouble.
Oh, we can't get in trouble here.
This is regular business hours. I didn't want to get them in trouble. Anyway, thank you.
Love you guys.
Love you. Hey, dude, what's up? Well, this is your sub, dude. What's going on, dude? Well, I wanted to tell you, are you in the middle of something, dude? No, I'm not in the middle of anything, dude. What's up? I wanted to tell you about a movie, dude, that I really love. Have you seen it? It's called Heaven Can Wait with Warren Beatty, dude. And it's an old movie. It's from the 70s, dude. And now that I'm 71, I'm starting to think about heaven, dude. And it's a great movie about what goes on after you die, dude. It's called Heaven Can Wait. It's about an hour and 41 minutes. It's a romantic comedy. And I'd want to suggest when you got some free time that you watch it, dude. I think it's probably a good idea. After all, we are 71. We don't know when we're going to die, dude. And another thing, dude, what's going on? I think we should start preparing our memorial, video of our life, when they remember you and they celebrate you. Usually the family doesn't know what to do. And I think the most loving thing we could do, they talk about you should have life insurance, dude. I think we should just create our own highlight reel, dude. That way when we die, no one's going to show up at my funeral, dude. I know, but maybe no one will show up. But if we're there, we can at least have the satisfaction when we're there. We prepared our own memorial celebration of life video, dude. Wow. Hey, dude, I hate to tell you. If we're dead and we're there, I don't think we can watch movies when we're dead and cremated, dude. Well, you got a good point. I guess that we probably won't be able to watch our memorial video, but at least we know that, well, we don't know if anyone's going to watch it because someone has to show up to watch it. Can I be real with you, dude? If no one's watching your videos now, why do you think if you die and you're dead and you're cremated that anyone's going to come and celebrate your life and watch your memorial video, dude? Let me be more specific, dude. What would happen if you sent Sylvia, your ex-girlfriend, a video and you attached a note? You said, "This, I have died, and this is my closure video to say goodbye. Will you at least watch it? Because it's one of my final wishes is that you watch this video because I've died." Well, dude, I don't think that's going to work. Why do you think she's going to watch your video just because you've died? Plus, how is she going to know that you died? Because I think she's somewhere on the planet. She's not even, aware of anything about you. So I don't know if you should even make videos thinking you're making a video so that Sylvia watches your video when you die. But anyway, back to Heaven Can Wait. I think it's a really cool movie and I highly recommend it. Let's go to our next video and let's take a commercial break and we'll be right back with a regular program, dude.
I want you to look at me and listen very carefully to what I'm saying.
Yeah?
This is not a dream.
Yeah.
Life has a certain quality all its own, a certain feeling, and so do dreams. You know that this is not life. And you know now that this is not a dream. This is a place that comes after life and after dreams. I'm sure that you're aware of that and that you will take your place with the others.
You trying to tell me? I'm not supposed to be here.
But you are here.
Well, you guys made a mistake.
This is insupportable. You're talking to Mr. Jordan.
Anybody can make a mistake.
Mr. Jordan, we do to take off pretty soon.
Yes, I have the situation in hand. Joe, if you don't take your place, the others won't be able to complete their journey. Do you think that's fair?
I'm not supposed to be fair. If this is really heaven, you're supposed to be fair. I didn't make any mistake.
This is not heaven. This is a way station, and there is no mistake.
I want to check out on Joseph Pendleton. When is he due to arrive at this way station?
Sir, I don't understand. A checkout? Why?
The likelihood of one individual being right increases in direct proportion to the intensity with which others are trying to prove him wrong.
Pendleton Joseph, due to arrive 10:17 a.m., March 20th of the year 2025.
Sir, I really can't believe it. I took him out. I took him out just before the accident. There's no way that car could have missed it. It's not possible.
You're not supposed to take him out before. You're supposed to wait for the outcome.
Yes, sir, I know, but I was so sure, and besides, it looked like it was going to be so painful.
Wait a minute, are you saying
Is this your first assignment as an escort?
Yes, sir.
Haven't you learned the rules of probability and outcome? Aren't you aware that every question of life and death remains a probability until the outcome?
Hey, so he jumped the gun. Anybody could have done that. Just put me back where you found me and we'll forget the whole thing, huh?
This man must be put back into his body at once.
Yeah. Thanks, Mr. Jordan. Hey, I'll see you in about 50 years. Hey, Max. Max, I'm back.
He can't hear you, Mr. Hamilton. I hope they got the best football team in America in heaven. And I hope God makes you first string.
Aw. Max, I'm gonna get my body back. Where's my body? Where do they keep...
Oh, dear.
Cremated, I see.
Yeah, well, I'm starting against Dallas on Sunday.
Joe, the body that you occupied on Earth has been cremated.
Well, uncremate me, that's all. You guys must be able to do something, right?
Mr. Pendleton, do the words "you're not being a good sport" mean anything to you?
Joe, we can put you into another man's body, and provided that his death has not yet been discovered.
Are you kidding? You're gonna put me into the body of another man? I just got my body back in shape.
Joe, the only way that you can return to life is in the body of another man. I shall have to take charge of this case personally. Incredibly graceful. He's about your age and in perfect condition.
It's too short. I'd never see over the line. You know what kind of shape you gotta be in to get to the Super Bowl?
Yes, Joe, I understand.
Hey, he's not talking English.
I told you he was German.
Hey, you talking English?
We can't be seen or heard, Joe.
Well, I don't want to talk German. And I gotta be able to call the plays in English.
Joe, if you could just, not so much lower, but broaden your standards. We've seen a great many bodies, and the choices are becoming limited.
And I'd park it for the month, go on the road, come back, load up my Subaru, drive it home, do my laundry, take a shower, have a couple of brewskis, and visit with my mother and father, who, in the end, would live across the street. My story driving to Tokyo is just as much a part of my mother, just as much, well, a part, what I'm trying to say is, my driving to Tokyo story is about driving in Tokyo, but it's also about my mother and father. 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 2:24 Pacific Time, and I guess in Tokyo it's about approximately 7:24 the next day tomorrow. My next video call with my Nichiren Shoshu sponsor, one of my best friends, is not till Monday night. And I gotta tell you what happened. This is how weird my life is. Listen very carefully. Dude, there's nobody here. I know, but there could be someone here. If I make this video, I download the photos, and I take videos from my 9,000 videos on this phone, and then we make it into a video. I know, but Chikanko said your videos are all over the place, and they're too long, and no one's gonna watch them. I know, probably no one's gonna watch them, but doesn't mean I can't make them. Just because no one's here, and I'm talking to myself on camera right outside Starbucks on the way, well, you're right outside of Target, dude, but let's get back on point. This is how weird my life is. I feel like I'm in a boomerang. I feel like I'm in a karmic kind of weird metaphysical Forrest Gump kind of secret meets Joe Black world. Listen to this. This just happened. I can't make this shit up. Listen to this. Listen very carefully. In fact, I would open up a notepad and take notes because I know what happened, and it's going to be so weird you'll have to take notes. But this is what happened. And I'm really bummed about this. First of all, this phone I'm talking on, I could survive with just this phone. And I used to say in my backpack with my computer, I could survive because I don't need a live phone to make movies or even go to Starbucks. All I need is my backpack, my laptop, and this phone. But this is what happened. And I'm really upset about it. I do need this phone live to go on the Lyft platform. And if this phone is disconnected or suspended because I don't pay my bill, I can't go on my Lyft app in this phone. Now, this also has iMovie, and it has Alexa, and it has all kinds of cool shit, but it doesn't require live service. So here's what I do. I really funked up. I have my Lyft, my phone bill. It's $127 a month with T-Mobile. I split into 2 payments, manageable payments. In fact, I reduced my phone bill from $200 to $127. So I know for 2 solid weeks, all I have to come up with my Lyft income is $57. So what'd I do? I'm Mr. Fuck Up, I think. I know. I think I'm starting to feel it, dude. You keep telling me I'm Mr. Fuck Up, but I'm starting to believe it now. This is what happened. It got down to the last day. The day before they were going to take the $57 and change out of my Bank of America account after midnight the next day. So I was working all day, the very last day, and I probably could have done it. All I had to do is work about 7 hours to make $140 to zero out my $400 lease. Then work about 3 hours to cultivate the income for the $57 deduction. So here's what I did. I can't believe I did this. And I was ready to do anything because I can't have this phone suspended. Because if this phone's suspended and I don't have my Lyft app and they suspend my phone, I'm fucked because I can't drive. I would have to come up with not $57, but $200 to get my phone back on, which I don't have. And then I could probably drive 1 more week, because what'll happen is if I don't have the lease paid for, the $140, they'll just try to take it out of that same Bank of America account that I was having the $57 taken out. And if it doesn't go through, it just says decline. And then the next week, they just say you're short $147, but then there's another $400 on Monday. So here's what I did. I can't believe, I was thinking about it. I said, do I have to just, I went to the pawn shop where I had already pawned 2 iPhones. And I said, I can't pawn this one. So I pawned my $2,000 Mac Pro computer over $57. That's the bad news. The good news, they gave me $300. So I had more than enough for the $57. So I kind of panicked. I went down to my bank, deposited $200, kept some money because I never have any money. And because I was then and there, I was able, right after I put the money in the ATM machine, go to my T-Mobile app and pay $60 and it would be taken care of. But guess what happened? This is so fucked up. Now, about the computer. This is why I really fucked up. All I had to do was come up with $57 and I would have been cool and working this weekend, make some more money so that come Monday morning when everything's reset, I'd be okay. So I've been monitoring my account and I had $200 in there. I had some more money to eat because I didn't have any money to eat. And then I checked my balance. It had only $45 balance. So I called T-Mobile. I said, what happened? I was looking. There's a $60 charge. I paid the installment, and then there was another $57 taken out because the installment went through because I did it the day before, and then the time payment just still went through. So I ended up paying over $100. And on top of that, I have to come up with $360 because in 30 days, by September 8th, to keep my computer. 360 because they give you the $300. You have $300 cash, and then you have a whole month, which is in the realm of possibility, whole month to earn the $300 plus $20, $60 of interest in a month. So I still can save my computer, but here's what's really weird. That computer is part of my psyche. I walk into Starbucks every morning at 5, set up my computer on the countertop. They all see it. They all see me on my computer. My computer is a part of me. It has 7,000 videos and photos. This has 9,000. I make my videos on here, but I have my computer. I use it. It's the center of my universe. Now I have to come up with $360 instead of all I had to do was come up with $57. I made the problem worse, trying to make it better. Now, here's the good news. I can talk to Amy about this on Monday. She always comes up with some Buddhist metaphysical stuff, and she usually comes up with something simple, some simple solution. She usually comes up with the same thing. She'll just say, oh, it's your karma. I'm like, God darn it. What do you mean it's my karma? And you have to know Amy. Because you don't know Amy, I have to tell you about Amy. But fortunately, I got some recordings of her because we've been doing videos from Tokyo to here for 4 years, because it's been 6 years since I went to Japan on my 5th trip, and it's been 4 years since I drove for night transportation, and I feel like this was a bad dream, but it's not a bad dream. It's a fucking reality shit show. And now on top of it, you can't believe all the bullshit. Everyone has a breaking point. Do you know what I told my mom the other day? My dad just died, and I wasn't with him on his 90th birthday or when he died. And do you know why I wasn't with him? My mom insisted after I was fired to sell the house, so I helped her clear out the whole house that was across the street from where my dad died and where he celebrated his 90th birthday, because my mom insisted on selling the house. They paid $47,000 for it. My mom and dad have the opposite effect. They don't have to do diddly squat, and the money just comes flying at them in multiple streams, and they can't fuck up. It seems like they have good karma. I have bad karma, and I'm their son. So here's what happened. Before they decided to sell the house, I told, oh, no problem, Mom. I've got to see you and Dad up in Big Bear for 3 years, and I've seen you 10 years here, 13 years of coming home to my hometown, and you gave me the house to come home from my hometown, not to live like a normal person, but to come home from my 4 days. Plus, Chicago stayed in my guest room for 2 years, and I loved the house. I furnished it. I made my movies. Dad then sold his art studio down the street, moved his art studio into the living room. I got it all videotaped and stuff. So my dad, when he was alive, got painted. I could hear him talking on the speakerphone, and he painted in the living room for a couple years. And Chicago lived there a couple years after or before my dad did, and it was some 13 good years. And plus, I bought multiple cars. Sophia Rashkin stayed in Chicago's room. I had some good times in the house. I loved it. But you said originally when you bought it for $47,000, I'll take these glasses off, dude. People can't even see your eyes. I know I have eyes, but I can't even see my own eyes anymore because I need these reading glasses. Fuck, I'm getting so fucking old, I can't even see my face. Yeah, do you know what I did the other day? I went into Whole Foods, broke down and bought a beer. I said, do you have any restrooms? She said, yeah. She gave me a receipt. forgot to bring these reading glasses in. She said, your code is on the receipt. And I squinted and I couldn't even see the code, so I couldn't piss in the bathroom. So I went back out in the sunlight and I could see it with my naked eye. And I'm getting old, dudes. You know? Well, you're getting weird too, dude. How many people sit and talk to themselves outside of Target? Well, I actually haven't seen anybody, but if I saw someone, I'd like to have a conversation with them because we can compare notes, dude. Check this out. Completely different subject. This happened last night. And in the midst of chaos, confusion, breakdown, bad karma, I have all kinds of cool stuff that happens. Last night, I slept in my car like I often do. But the other day when I was freaking out because I didn't have money to charge my car. If I couldn't charge my car, I couldn't drive it. If I couldn't drive it, I couldn't make money. I just said, for the hell of it, I'll just type in free charging. I have Electrify America, and I was down to only $13 and 30 miles on my car. I couldn't drive, and I was desperate. So I said, fuck it. I'll just type in free charging, just in case there's in the realm of good karma and possibility there's free charging here. Guess what? At the Cherry Creek Library, 5-minute drive from here, there was 2 charging stations. My regular one's right over here, but it cost me money. It's a fast charger. It's right by King Soopers. I'm right by the Target. My Starbucks is right here. So I got Starbucks here, Target here, and my regular charging, and then my car wash down the street. It's like so it said free charging. So I started charging my car for free. I was really happy because it meant I didn't have to have money to charge the car, so therefore I could still drive it and save my life. Because if I lose this fucking car, I am dead. In fact, I would never kill myself, but I think I'd almost want to kill myself. Because when I went to my mom and said, Mom, I'm at the end of my rope. Do you know what my own mother said, who just turned 90? Oh, you're at the end of your rope like Robin Williams, who hung himself. She doesn't even get it. She's so brain dead as far as metaphysics. She says I'm not into the woo-woo stuff. And her own son is saying I'm at the end of my rope, and she makes a joke of it. I know, she's kind of like she's got money. Well, just because you have money doesn't mean, just because she's been married to my dad since high school. My mom is a wonderful woman. She built 4 houses with my dad, did electrical, the plumbing, and the framing that started in junior high school. Well, it wasn't even junior high school, dude. It was elementary school. We built a room addition. Then we built our first house when I was still living at home. They built 4 houses, became millionaires. And the 4th house was their Big Bear City house. They have money. And my dad has been telling me for 15 years before he died, son, don't worry about your life. When I die, what he did, and when mom dies, you're going to have so much friggin' money, you'll never have to think about money again. I'm 71. My mom told me. I went and got checked up on. Her doctor said, you have the cardiovascular system of a teenager. My mom said, son, this, you can think I'm making this shit up. That's why I want you to take notes. My mom says, son, I'm going to live at least 10 more years, which means you won't get your money for at least 10 more years. But when you're 80, I'm thinking, 80? She said, you'll finally get your money, but I want to tell you one thing that's bothered. This is real shit. I could even show you the email. She said, one thing that's really bothered me, when Kathy's husband was shot and killed and she got $250,000 when she was 20, like 2 years old or something like that, and 2 tax-free incomes, she gave you $5,000. And you never paid her back all these years. So when I die, I have it written in the will, I'm going to take $5,000 out of your inheritance and pay her back. Well, I thought, okay, that's cool. Thank you for doing that. But then she said, plus interest. So I looked up on the computer, what's interest for 50 years or 60 years or whatever on $5,000 that my sister gave me out of $250,000. It's like $100-something thousand. So my mom's going to take $100,000 out of my inheritance plus $5,000 to pay Kathy back the $5,000 she gave me out of $250,000. So she's going to get $105,000, and I don't even know if I'm going to have an inheritance, because I think I heard my sister Janet talking to my mom was spreading the inheritance around. Probably Aaron and Daniel are going to get it because they're kind of cool dudes. They're almost 50 and they have beautiful wives and family, and they're homeowners. See, their whole value system is Doug's a fucked up homeowner, so we should just give money to our nephew, skip him, and by the time Mom's 80, he'll probably be dead anyway. This is how my family thinks right now. I feel like I'm being like in a metaphysical weird movie. This is like a metaphysical soap opera. Dazed and Confused, or Days of Our Lives with Doug Wirma. But dude, you know, if you could probably make a video about this. Well, I have been making videos, haven't you noticed? No one's noticed. I don't even think there's someone watching this. The only people that listen to me are the people that sit in my back seat, my riders. But to tell you the truth, you know, it's weird. They don't have any other choice. They get in my car. Hello, how are you? I'm your Lyft driver. I talk to him like this. I want you to know I'm a retired truck driver. I've driven 1 million miles without an accident, and I am really weird, but I'm safe. I'm going to go slow. I don't care if people tailgate me and flash their lights. I don't care if they honk at me. I don't even care if they pass me on my right because they're pissed off at me and honk at me as they're going by 40 miles an hour in a 25-mile-an-hour zone. I'm going to get you to your destination safe and on time. Because I've got a PhD in driving. I've driven a taxi. I've driven back and forth to the airport for 10 years. I drove with 2 companies. I drove 1 million miles all over the U.S. I went to Japan 5 times. I took subways and bullet trains all over the country. I'm a master of transportation. And this is my final gig. And you're one of my riders. How about you? What do you do for a living? That's the way I talk to my riders. We have the most enlightening conversations. And guess what? They ask me if I have a YouTube channel. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Well, you're really interesting. You should have a YouTube channel. I have one, matter of fact. Pull out your phone. Type in Driving to Tokyo Space Channel. I've even had women, check this out. I haven't had a serious girlfriend since Sylvia Chin Santos, April 20th, 1999, when she said that she only wanted to be friends on the beaches of Porto Seguro. And I'm 71, and these women are like they're in their 30s, and some of them, you know, I'm driving them to their destination. I'm just kind of like talking to them and stuff, you know. And they say stuff like, "Are you married? Do you have a family?" No, I'm not married. I haven't had a girlfriend in since I was 45, and now I'm 71, 26 years, and I don't think I can have a girlfriend because I've forgotten how to have a girlfriend. And anyway, I'm sleeping in my car, and I'm a mess, but my mentor, Dean Graciosi, has told me my mess is my message. And if I get my shit together, they're going to put me on stage to be one of their testimonies. The only trouble is I have to live long enough, and I think I'm in this mess for a while. And it is a fucking mess. So I'm okay with possibly being friends with women, but no girlfriends. Especially no girlfriends from Brazil or another country. I went to Japan 5 times thinking I'd meet someone there. Nothing happened. How about you? Are you married? It's kind of weird. I'm actually thinking you're kind of cool. Would you be interested in dating? I'm like, dating? How old's your father? They said, well, 50. I said, I'm 21 years older than your father. Look at my gray beard. Look at my fucked up teeth. You know? No, I'm thinking all this. I said, what the hell? I said, here's the deal. We can meet at St. Mark's Coffee for coffee, but first requirement, you have to go to my channel and watch my videos for a while. And you have to actually watch them. So we have something to talk about. And if you find me interesting more than this short conversation, I'm open to being friends, but nothing more. Because by the time we figure out whether we're falling in love or not, I'll probably die. And I don't want to die in the middle of us, you know, deciding to be boyfriend, girlfriend. So I think the best thing to do at this stage of my life is just, you know, being friends. Yeah, I have these kinds of conversations with my writers. I gotta tell you, it's more interesting than having conversations with my freight. I used to talk to my freight so much. That's one of the keys to not having an accident. I had my friendship with my freight. And my freight gods took care of me. See, your freight is your gods, your freight gods. They take care of you if you talk to them, because they're lonely too. You know, they just sit there back in the 53-foot trailer and they just want riding back there and have no one to talk to. So I just start talking to them. And they talk back. Dude, your freight talk back to you? Yeah. I mean, have you ever driven a truck out the open highway in Nevada between Reno and Las Vegas, out the open highway? There's nothing for 5 hours. The freight talks to you, man. And what happens is, dude, when you hit the 500,000 mark, you become enlightened, and your freight starts talking to you, and all kinds of weird stuff happens. That's the bottom line. Anyway, let's push the stop button. This is not going to be a public video. This is going to be my own little conversation with myself. See, without my mother and father, there wouldn't be any driving to Tokyo for multiple reasons. First of all, my dad was 20 when I was born. My mom was 18. They were high school sweethearts. We were all born in a small town called Virginia, Minnesota, in northern Minnesota, where it gets really cold. In fact, if you're not familiar with Virginia, Minnesota, it's about 90 miles south of the Canadian border, and it's really cold in the winter, 50 below. It's just like Finland and Sweden. That's why my great-grandfather, on my dad's side, came over from Finland. My last name, Wirma, is a Finnish name. Now, what you may not know, if I didn't tell you, is that I'm the oldest son, and unfortunately, it looks like I'm going to probably die without carrying on the family name. If I had got married, which I did, October 18th, 1981, to a woman named Sharon, but if I had gotten married and married her and stayed married my whole life, we probably, potentially, would have had children, my parents' grandchildren. And if we had children when we were married, those children would be at least in their 40s. So I was married, but I didn't have any children. And Sharon would go on and remarry, and she moved to Encinitas because of me. Originally, when I met her, she was up in Dana Point. Also, Sharon is an interesting part of my story. Why? Well, she proposed to me after only knowing me 3 weeks, after I was doing Paramahansa Yogananda soulmate affirmations in my small little studio on top of I Street, right around the corner from the SRF ashram. I was doing soulmate affirmations. And my inner voice told me, get on your bike, ride down to Lursong bookstore in Del Mar now. I said, why? I'm doing so many affirmations. He said, get on your bike right now. So I whatever that voice is, or that God, or the universe, I got on my bike. I rode all the way through Encinitas, Cardiff by the Sea, Solana Beach, and I did ride to that bookstore, Earth Song bookstore. I walked in. Now, what you don't know, if I didn't tell you, is 4 years before that, I had a girlfriend named Carol that I met at Stone Steps Beach the summer of 1976. And we quickly fell in love. She lived up in Newport Beach. Sharon lived up in Dana Point. But in the end, Carol would give me a book on my birthday, September 13th, 1953, called To See the World in a Grain of Sand. And I still have it today. She gave it to me on September 13th, 1976. I was 23 years old. Well, I did not know Carol had problems. It came as a complete shock when I got news that she took an overdose of pills and tried to take her life. I raced up to the hospital. By the time I got there, she had a straitjacket, was heavily medicated, and drugged out. I told her I loved her. It was a shock. She surfed, she played the piano, she was full of life. She was a born-again Christian, so was I. We went to church together. I was into my prime. I was driving a TR6, I was training Navy SEALs, but it came as a complete shock. Sadly and regretfully, about 3 weeks later, I would see her on a Tuesday night. And she said, I love you, but I may never see you again. That was Tuesday night. Wednesday, I felt an overwhelming desire to call her, but there was a force. Every time I went to make the phone call, it said, let me go, let me go, let me go. That Wednesday night, I dreamt about her taking her life with a rifle. I dreamt of a phone call I would get. Well, on Friday morning, the day after Thursday, I did get that phone call. I later found out, after magically meeting her sister, who was then, when I met her, in her late 70s, I was employed by Night Transportation, and I got a load from Phoenix to Buffalo, and I was just southwest of Kansas City thinking about Carol, thinking about her years later, that I didn't have a photo of her. I was in my 60s when I met her, and when she ultimately took her life, shot and killed herself in her brother's apartment, December 30th, 1976. I was thinking of her, and I was wishing I had a photo of her. So guess what happened? Just at that instant, I was on my 10-hour break with Night Transportation going to Buffalo from Phoenix. I got a Facebook request. It was from Cynthia Cook. Now, when Carol and I drove my TR6, but when we drove up to Seattle to meet her sister in Seattle, Washington, on our one and only road trip in the 4 months or 5 months we knew each other, Cindy was married and living in Seattle, Washington. This person that was sending me a Facebook request was living in St. Charles, but the St. Louis area. But I accepted it anyway. Guess what happened? Immediately after accepting the friend request, I got a long, detailed, heartfelt message from her sister. I have it on my computer right now. She basically said she'd been looking for me for 45 years and she thought she found me. She did. Because I was going to Buffalo, I was going to take my next scheduled pit stop at Mr. Fuel in St. Louis, Missouri. It turned out to be 20 miles from where Cynthia lived. She remarried, and we would end up getting together at the truck stop and spending 7 hours together. I've got actually a photo of her. I'm going back into Starbucks right now. I just wanted to walk around the parking lot because the music's a little loud inside and tell you a little bit about this story. I'm going inside right now because I've already had this happen twice. This car is the center of my universe. Without this car, I don't have a place to sleep at night because I've been sleeping in this car just like I did with my 2017 Prius Touring. My first summer, I slept in my car. In fact, I specifically slept in my car around the corner from St. Mark's Coffee House with custom WeatherTech shades. I'm doing the same exact thing now, 3 years later, but with a different car. Same business, just different car, electric car. And I'm sleeping in my car because I voluntarily decided after 2 years and 4 months of paying about $1,100 rent in my loft apartment, even though that was a 50% discount, even though apartments, just because of the location, would normally be $1,800. Not the apartment itself. The apartment itself had a small little tiny bathroom without any upgrades. A walk-through kitchen with no counter space, an old sink, original stove. The kitchen was not even really like a kitchen. It was like a walk-through kitchenette or something. The best part of it was the refrigerator, just simply to go to Whole Foods and get beer and have a place to put it in the refrigerator. So the apartment itself, the biggest thing with the apartment, yes, was the discount, but most importantly, the location. Now, I decided to voluntarily break my lease and move out of my apartment after 2 years and 4 months because I realized a couple realizations. Number one, even with the time I moved in from August of 2022 to about maybe a month ago, I had spent somewhere around just shy of $30,000 in rent. And I realized if I rented and stayed there the rest of my life, which I really intended because I loved it. I did a lot of videotaping. I met all kinds of new friends, including Bloom and Legal Pete's, where all our conversations were at Legal Pete's. I loved the location, but so here's the key point. Even though I no longer have that apartment, even though management now wants to collect a closing bill of $2,400, which I don't have, but nevertheless they sent me to collections. Even if I pay that $2,400 and I don't owe them any more money, I'm going to come out ahead financially long term. I want to highlight long term. And I'm perfectly fine sleeping in the front seat of my car because from 10 o'clock in the evening to about 4 in the morning, I feel fine. Now, this is a park up here. I've never driven through here before. Take a chance. But the point is, I can still walk around in the same locations outside of my apartment. Cummins Park, Whole Foods, all the Starbucks locations, because I can park by Cummins Park for free overnight and camp out there if I really want to. It's the second option from 8 o'clock at night till 10 o'clock the next morning. So the point is, just in rent alone, after I get through this tough time, and the important part, the absolutely critical part, is to save this apartment, save this car, because it's where I sleep at night. And second really important thing, in fact, this really important thing is that this car is important, but my phone, keeping it alive, is important because it has my lift out. And most importantly, I can have this car. Literally, I can have this car tomorrow and all week to drive. Available to drive. I can have my phone on. My phone isn't in jeopardy. Technically, my car really isn't in jeopardy. Okay, my phone isn't in jeopardy. My car isn't in jeopardy. So therefore, my Lyft app is in jeopardy. But here's the key point. I can literally, right now I'm at 84%, and I'm almost 300 miles I can drive. However, if my battery goes down to, let's say, 15%, and I can only drive 30 miles, and I don't have any money in my personal account, I don't have any credit cards to use, including my Apple card that's maxed out, I don't have any way to load up and put more money in my Electrify America account, my car will sit. And every day it sits, I lose money. So that's why it's critical. I can't screw up anymore. So when I have 7 hours to drive, I have to drive 7 hours. I'm coming up to Alameda now. So I'm going to charge my car. I still have about 10 more hours I can drive between now and 5 in the morning. Now where I screwed up is last night I could have driven another 7 hours. That would be $140 more I could have had. And with what I'm going to do today, I would have more than enough. I feel pretty secure with like $250 going into the week to charge my car. But I didn't. And that's how I screwed up. And I can't do that anymore, period. Second thing that happened that was real significant, I have this phone as my primary phone. I absolutely can't pawn this or lose this or turn this off. I have to have this phone. It's a 1 terabyte phone. It's the center of my universe. It's how I'd make my videos. However, I had a second phone that was live with T-Mobile. My T-Mobile account was a 2-line account. So I was using my second phone to do all kinds of cool stuff, my video making. But when I got tight on funds, it looked like I wasn't going to be able to charge my car. I pawned the third phone that was not even on. It was like a $400 phone that I owned that I was not using. So I pawned it at a pawn shop and I got $125. This is about a week ago or so. That gave me $125, $80 to put in my primary account and be able to set up my Electrify America account so that I could charge my car. Then I took my second phone in and they said they would give me $225. So the point is I got $300 to use to charge my car. That saved my car. But now I don't have any more phones. So the point is I'm right in critical survival mode. And it's scary. I don't want to lose this car. On top of it, it's a really nice car, and I don't care about the $1,600 a month because I can earn it, and I have to earn it. Now, I've got all kinds of credit card debts and stuff that I'm responsible for over and above what I just said. But those things all come secondary. This guy just cut right in front of me. Oh well, I think I might have to sell a spot here. I think. So I'm at the charging station. Hey, dude, what's up? It's your sub, dude. We got the weather text changed all around the windows. Yeah, but they're not perfect because we bought them at WeatherTech, dude, for our original white 2017 Prius Touring. That we bought out at the CarMax in San Diego after our 2012 van stopped running outside of Richard's apartment. There's a lot to talk about. First of all, it is Wednesday, the third day of my Lyft week, and this is going to be true for an indefinite period of time. Of course, probably some of you don't have to say this is Doug, of course, but it's important to say what date it is. It's August 2nd. We have here in Denver, Colorado, the Mile High City where I have been. I've come back full circle about 3 summers ago. My name's Doug. I've grown my beard out. I'm standing in front of Starbucks in Glendale, Colorado. And I've come here 2 different times in my 3 years of coming back to Colorado after being away 14 years. I came here with my 2017 Prius Touring that I bought in San Diego at CarMax. It was a miracle to even have that car. I drove it out to my folks' house after they sold the house that I called home for 10 years. They paid $47,000 cash for it. I want to say lived in it, but I was only there 4 days out of the month. I paid the taxes, the insurance, all the base expenses. My parents initially proposed that if I pay all the base expenses, I wouldn't have to pay rent or mortgage. And they said more than likely, this home would be a part of your inheritance. So late in life, you would have a home and an asset. That's what they told me initially. This is Doug Force. I'm going to be sending this to my mom. We haven't talked in a while. Last time I talked to her, she was made the transition into a retirement home. And it's a big decision for her. And as far as I know, she was going to sell the fourth and final house in Arizona City where my dad and mom had lived for a while. In fact, they bought 2 houses for themselves. The first one was on West Mazatlan. That was actually the second house that they bought. They bought the first one that they paid cash for was one that I actually called home for 10 years while I was employed for night transportation, which was my home terminal was in Phoenix, about an hour drive from Arizona City. If you're not familiar with Arizona City, which I don't think you would be unless you lived in the area, the biggest town near Arizona City was a place called Casa Grande that I think had approximately 70,000 people. But Phoenix was about 50 miles, basically 50 miles one direction, and Tucson, Arizona was about 45 or 50 miles the other direction. And Arizona City was off of exit 200, which the funny thing is, exit 200, there was a Love's truck stop on one side and a Petro on the other. And it was really funny because right within a few miles of my house I called home for 10 years, there was a Pilot, a TAA, and a Flying J, all within short distance from where I lived. Now, the actual house that I lived in, called home for my home time, was about 3 miles off the highway. And if you took exit 200 and drove towards the house, there was just one signal light, and it would be pitch black, and you would think that you're driving out in the middle of nowhere. Arizona City had one signal light, a Domino's Pizza, a small market, a couple liquor stores, and it was definitely the smallest town that I called home, but it was where my parents loved. And it was a funny thing, when they initially went out there to visit their dear friends Jerry and Shirley years ago, prior to actually moving there, they said it was the last place in the world that they would live. And as it turned out, my mom and dad loved it because they changed. I believe I might have this wrong, but I do know their fourth and final house that they built in Big Bear City, I think they said they lived in it 30 years, and it was huge, and it looked completely different than Arizona City. Arizona City was in the desert. Big Bear City was up in the mountains, a couple hours outside of Los Angeles in the ski resort area. And my parents, while they were married, and they've married 71 years, they built 4 houses, lived in them. 4 houses, lived in them. Their very first house, to my understanding, well, the first one that they actually bought, I believe, was in Silver Bay, 6,000. But the first house that they bought in San Diego was when I was in elementary school. It was on Vivian Street, and I think they said they paid about $25,000 for it. Then they bought a piece of property out near Hamul, and that's where they ended up building the first house. And we actually kind of built it as a family because it was when I was in high school. I went to Monte Vista High School, and we kind of built it as a family. And then I left home about age 19. My very first job was at SDG&E in El Cajon. And I ultimately would transfer up to Carlsbad and work as a laborer. And then in the end, I would work as a mechanic's helper. And that was about 40 miles north of where I grew up and where my family was. And that's where I ultimately would end up living in my early 20s all the way to age 37 before I would come here to Colorado. So when my Lyft riders ask me where I'm from, I tell them I'm 71 years old. It depends on what time of my life, because I grew up in San Diego from age 7 to 37, but I came here to Colorado at age 37, not knowing anyone. I started completely over And I would end up being a massage therapist at the Brown Palace. I would be a cab driver, a limo driver, did all kinds of things here, including network marketing. I was in 2 different relationships here, and I would live here from age 37 to 55 until I would end up leaving here and going to Laguna Beach. It's a one-way train ticket to meet up with my folks. My dad at the time when I left here was 75 and I was 55. And that would be when I officially left Denver, Colorado. And now I've come full circle because of a whole series of circumstances and things that happened. And I've been documenting, well, everything. And I do it every day, including today. Now, it's very hot today. Now, if you're not familiar with the Mile High City, Denver, Colorado, it has 4 seasons, and we definitely have a summer. Very similar to Phoenix. It's been getting in the high 90s, but the difference is it has been cooling down here. And I'm still driving. I have a third vehicle, first vehicle I own, a 2017 Prius Touring. I drove first 2 years here, starting in the summer of 2022. After spending the winter in Encinitas car camping in a van, after I helped my mom clear out the house I called home, they put it up for sale and it closed that spring. But that winter I was actually in Encinitas, California, trying to figure out what my plan B was because I unexpectedly lost my job November 5, 2021. So there's so much to unpack. But my whole story that I believe could be a book is called Driving to Tokyo. So this video is just kind of a glimpse at my story, driving to Tokyo. This officially began right now. Well, unfortunately, years later, I realized I should have never even taken their offer. Here's why. First of all, I was only in the home 4 days out of the month. And even though I just paid the taxes, the insurance, the water, the sewer, all the basic expenses, and even though it was a real blessing, and on the surface would seem a generous offer, and it was. But frankly, still $300 or $400 a month for 6 years was around 20-something thousand. Now, granted, I admit that more than likely, even if I didn't have the house and I was driving the truck, I would have to maybe rent an Airbnb or whatever. But there's a number of things now that I'm 71 and I've come full circle back to where I was when this whole thing started. This whole thing meaning my leaving Colorado and driving a truck for 13 years. Right now, it's sad. Here's why. There's a number of things that are sad. Can you think of anything that's happened in your life? If you were to look at your life and think of something that happened that broke your heart, maybe a divorce, losing a job, the death of a friend or a family member. Well, there's been a lot of things. But the most recent that was, I would call it a conceptual death. My dad experienced a physical death, but I experienced a conceptual death with my sisters, Janet and Kathy. Here's what happened. My sister, Janet, wrote me an email right when I'm in the edge of losing my Mercantile Square lot for the 4th time. She said, Kathy and I are on to you. You're lazy, you're lazy, you're lazy. She didn't say 3 times, but that really hit home. Don't talk to your mother and father. You have no idea what they're going through. They don't want to hear from you. More or less she's saying, you're a loser. Don't talk to your mom and dad. You're lazy. Yeah, Kathy, husband, was shot and killed in 1987 while I was in Arizona working for the shrimp peddler. Because her husband was shot and killed in her early 20s, she got $250,000 in 2 tax-free incomes for the rest of her life. And she never went back to work, never took another job. And all I said to my sister Janet is, how are you calling me lazy when Kathy did nothing? Which is true. See, Kathy couldn't even take the truth. That's the truth. She did nothing. She didn't go back to work. She didn't go back to school. And she's still retired. In fact, she has 2 homes. And she came back with kind of like, how are you calling me? You know, like I didn't do nothing. My boyfriend is dying. I've had this happen. No, I never said, Kathy, that just because you've got 2 tax-free incomes, you never had to think about money again. You golfed and skied all through your 20s and 30s and bought a house up by mom and dad and have done nothing but retire. That's true, isn't it? But she couldn't take the truth. And when I said that, she said, you cease to exist. And I said, why don't I send you a video to share who your brother is? And she said, I don't want to watch your videos. So my sisters, Janet and Kathy, never once in the 10 years I called Arizona City home, never gave me any impression that they thought I was lazy or a poor homeowner. And of course, my sister Janet is the executor of the estate, and she and my sister Kathy, now that my mom is 90 and in a retirement home, my mom has stopped talking to me. I can understand. I'm at a severe disadvantage. I've never been a homeowner. I don't have money. I'm not retired. So it's sad. That's one of the sad things, and it does influence me. It has influenced my life. Now, the second thing that happened that was even more, as Matthew McConaughey would say, a red light that stopped me in my tracks. On November 5, 2021, after having what I figured, not a you're a fucking lazy bum kind of career, I thought I turned my life around. And for basically 10 years in Arizona City, I went home to my mom and dad. And I told them every time on my home time, I'm so happy to have a company that loves me, that I love. I'm so happy to have a career that I'm proud of. I'm so happy that I turned my life around. And it was through hard work. And I have proof of that. What's different about my sister Janet and my sister Kathy's perception of me, it's just a perception. And if you talk to them about who I am, they would tell you I'm lazy, I'm a poor homeowner, I'm a liability for my mother and father, that I'm just there to wait for them to die so I can get their money. That's what they'd probably tell you. But nothing could be further than the truth. So anyway, they asked me at Starbucks when I got my coffee, how are things going? So I'm not here to sugarcoat things. I'm not here to tell you everything is awesome, but it was awesome. It was awesome from the time I was hired by Night Transportation on May of 2012 till the day I picked up my last load up in Spokane, Washington. It was awesome. And my sisters and my mom and my dad never gave me any impression that I was lazy. But I guess that's how my sisters feel about me. And that's sad for me. Especially since my dad passed away and I wasn't able to be there for his 90th birthday because I no longer had a home. It's my mom, and I helped my mom clear out the house after I was fired. I traded my 2017 Subaru that I owned. Now, before getting fired, before my parents decided to sell the house, which made me homeless. When I got fired, it made me jobless. I was not in as bad a shape as I am now. I had $20,000 saved. My van that I drove out to Encinitas to successfully car camp for the winter 2022 while the house is being sold was paid for. I had Social Security coming in. In fact, I was quite happy the winter of 2022. In fact, my first year or so here in Colorado, after I moved into my Mercantile Square loft apartment in August of 2022, I was really happy. It felt like a turning point after losing my job and losing my house and coming full circle back to Colorado. I felt like things would be okay. But it didn't. It lasted 2 years and 4 months. And now I'm back to kind of square one. And I document everything. The managers just walked in. They all know that I talk to myself and I'm weird. I'm going inside now. after being away. I left after living here from August 1990 at age 37 all the way to January of 2009, approximately 18 to 19 years. You can hear some traffic to the side here. Maybe I'll walk in this direction down the alley. I'm actually set up inside of St. Mark's Coffee House. Unless my circumstances change, which often they do. So I'm actually walking around a lake in Denver. If you're one of my riders who actually live here in Denver, especially if you live near Wash Park or Cherry Creek, you probably know exactly where I am, Smith Lake. But if you're outside of Denver, specifically my Nichiren Shoshu sponsor and friend, Amy, who I'm having a call with, a video call this evening at 6. She's never been here, but I'm trying to share as much of my world with her because I've seen her world very intimately. And we've been doing live. We started out with live Zoom calls, but there were only 40-minute limits. So we found out that with Facebook Messenger, she can call me. If I answer and go to video, we can talk an indefinite period of time from Tokyo to here, Denver, Colorado, which is pretty remarkable. Now, we've been communicating for about 4 years, and she's very religious, very devoted. In fact, of all the people, including my own mother, my 2 sisters, now I have some friends in my life that even though we don't talk or we aren't speaking that often, there are people that have been in my life that are very significant, and I know they care. I just left a picture of stone steps on my Facebook, and a few people responded. I think my friend Robert thought I was back in Encinitas, which I now realize that potentially when I had a pivot point where I could have driven my 2017 Prius Touring that I bought in San Diego, either circled back to Encinitas and had continued what I started, and that was car camping in Encinitas for the winter of 2022. But I did that in a 2012 van that I traded my 2017, not Prius, but my 2017 Subaru Impreza, which was a really nice car, all-wheel drive. That would have been actually better suited for Colorado than definitely my van. But I got my van straight across, even though my van was 2012, 5 years older, and my car was 5 years newer. I didn't have to come up with any cash, but here's the downside. I realized after the fact. It was the first car that I had bought outside of CarMax. All the other cars when I was employed with Knight Transportation, which was a decade, I bought the cars through CarMax, specifically in Avondale, Denver, in Phoenix, not Denver. And my first car I bought through CarMax was really significant because it was the first car I'd bought in a long, long time. It was an ES Lexus 350. It was used, 2009. But it was a beautiful car. And there's some backstory to this too, related to Sophia Rashkin. When I started meeting Sophia in various different places on my 4 days off every month, I started out, if I remember correctly, driving my friend Chicago's 2005 Cavalier that she sold to me for $1,600. It was black. It's black like my Kia car, and it ran perfect. It was perfectly fine for transporting me to the places we would meet. We would meet in various different places in the western United States. She was driving from Denver at the time. I was driving from Arizona. And often I would drive up what was the back way to Denver from Phoenix, and not too many people drive this way, but it's actually the best drive and the most scenic drive, and that is going up the 17 to Flagstaff and driving the back way from Flagstaff basically through Moab and Monument Valley and Canyonlands and Moab, and catching the 70 through the last part of Utah to Grand Junction over the Colorado Rockies into Denver. Now you can do it in the reverse. That's what Sophia did. When I met her, shortly after I was fired unexpectedly, which was a real huge, critical turning point in my life. Matthew McConaughey, one of my 3 mentors now, Matthew McConaughey, author of Green Lights and also Academy Award-winning actor, wrote a book called Green Lights that I did not know about. And one of the reasons why he calls it Green Lights, he used driving analogies like green light, red light, yellow light. And it's my understanding through Dean Graciosi, Tony Robbins' partner, and what I've learned from him when he's done live conversations with all of us that are part of the Mastermind family, which have been a part of now 2 years. I guess the essence of why he wrote the book was he had done over 50 motion pictures, won Academy Award, and there's a really good interview I highly recommend. If you go to YouTube and you type in Trent Shelton, I highly recommend it, Trent Shelton and Matthew McConaughey podcast. Now this is a way I can get away with not having YouTube block me, because I'm sharing copyrighted materials and stuff, and plus my videos are usually an hour. So if I put in the description a link or just direct you to something, you can still get the benefit. What I have been doing is sharing some of the clips, or just kind of like a tease, or with some of the things that I watched over and over again, so that you can see, have a common reference point. But on this interview with Trent Shelton, I believe it's Shelton, Trent was a professional NFL player, and if you don't know, the average NFL career is about 3.5 years, and just to make a roster, even on the practice squad, or just to make the team, even if you're a second string player, not a franchise quarterback or whatever, you have to be one of the very, very best college players. So Trent, I believe he was a receiver, played in the NFL for just a few years, and then decided to go into what he's doing now. And he's a student of Dean Graciosi and an excellent speaker. But also on this interview, he and Matthew are on the same wavelength, because Matthew was also best friends with Dean Graciosi, and Trent spoke at often almost every event, including the first one I saw him speak at, and that was called Launchpad. And he spoke for I think it was about an hour, and I cried through his whole talk. And in fact, I interviewed it. I recorded it in my loft, and I watched that over and over again. And when you watch something, have you ever gone to a movie and you knew exactly what all the scenes were? Meet Joe Black is one of those for me. Classic. You know exactly what they're going to say, you know how they're going to say it, and you still are moved by the story, or you cry, or you have an emotional experience, even though you've seen it over and over again. That's the way Trent's talk was, because it really struck a chord. And anyway, this interview, highly recommend. It's an hour video podcast, back and forth conversation with Matthew McConaughey that if you watch it, it's well worth an hour of your time. And it shows you the human side of Matthew McConaughey that I've got to know. Now, as I'm walking over Smith Lake, I'm going to turn my camera and show you this. It's August 6th, where I just walked from. I know they had to tow it to Ferguson Garage, and they said it was going to cost $10,000 to fix it. Well, that was after we successfully car camped from December 31st, New Year's Eve, January 1, New Year's Day, all the way through the whole winter, and then the van stopped running. Well, that was after my mom and dad said they're going to sell the house, so then I'd become homeless, and that was just after I lost my job that I had with Night Transportation for 10 years, dude. Well, there's a whole bunch of shit happening. I know, Matthew said, who's Matthew? Matthew McConaughey, dude. One of our virtual mentors. What do you mean by virtual, dude? Well, he's not really a mentor. Well, he's a mentor, but he's through the internet, dude. Well, he's through the internet. How can he be real? Because Tony Robbins, Matthew McConaughey, and Tony's partner, Gene Graciosi, puts on these huge virtual events. You ought to check it out, dude. Well, I haven't even checked it out because I hardly even know anything about them. Well, dude, you don't have to know them. They invite people for free. They're masters, dude. And we could even watch it inside our car here on our smartphone, dude. You don't have to fly to Phoenix to the mastermind facility or headquarters. You can just watch it through your phone. I watched it through my apartment, dude. Well, that's when you had your apartment, dude. I know. I had my 65-inch TV. I had my $1,400 mattress. It was all set up to make videos before I lost my apartment. My mom would give me $750. That was one of the saddest thing in the whole world. You think your mom, when I asked her, I said, Mom, I've got $800. Donald gave me a second chance to keep my apartment. I've been here 2 years and 4 months. And I know it. And she kept saying, you're living beyond your means. I know. I kept telling her over and over and over again, Mom, this apartment is $1,100. When I was at the Mercantile Square Loft, well, this is the Mercantile Square Loft. Okay, when I was in Arizona at the 3-bedroom, 2-bath house that you and Dad paid cash for, $47,000, I had no rent or mortgage for 10 years. This is the real world. That was imaginary world, because that's where my mom and dad live. They live in the imaginary world because my dad just turned 90 and then he passed away, not just shy of 91, dude. I know. He just wanted to make it to 90. And that's all they wanted to do. I know. I even used to tell, well, who am I talking to? What? You're talking to me, dude. Well, I guess I am, dude, but I can't see you, dude. Well, you can't see me, dude, because I don't know why you can't see me. I forgot. You're a sub, dude. You live in the imaginary world of the non-physical. You're a non-physical being. I forgot. When you're a non-physical being, you're in the other world, so maybe you can't see me. I never even thought about that, dude. We actually can have conversations, and you're in the metaphysical, non-physical world. I'm starting to understand the significance of our relationship, our friendship, dude. You're kind of like my own personal Alexa. Wow, that's really tripped out. Well, how this is really weird, dude. I'm talking to a non-physical being, and I'm a physical being. This is kind of tripping me out, dude. Well, why are you tripping out? Because I thought you were like a real dude. I am a real dude. I sound like you. I can't say I look like you because I don't look like anything. I live in the other non-physical world. What, you live in the woo-woo world? Yeah, I live in the woo-woo world. Like, you know, Sophia Rashkin would probably tell you, I live in the woo-woo world. Well, my mom said she's not into the woo-woo. I know, my mom doesn't, she's not into metaphysics, dude. You know, when Sophia Rashkin asked you to ask your parents when you did have the house if she could park her van in your driveway because she hates Denver, she hates the cold, and she just asked if you would ask your mom when we had the house? Yeah, when we had the house, if she could park her van in your driveway. And so I asked my mom and dad, but my mom and my dad aren't into the woo-woo. Well, it doesn't matter. They shouldn't hold it against her because she's a shaman and a channel and she's into the woo-woo. Well, they thought about it for a whole night and they told me we're not into the woo-woo world and we don't really, well, we prefer that Sophia Rashkin doesn't park in the driveway. I know, but dude, that was after she flew out to Phoenix. We picked her up at the airport, and she actually stayed in Chicago's old room. I know, but Sophia didn't even meet our parents. Sophia did not meet my parents because she thought maybe because she's in the woo-woo world and she's a shaman and channel, it might be like kind of weird for my parents to meet someone that's kind of a shaman and channel because it might feel uncomfortable. So we just ended up hanging out in our house, my parents' house, whatever you want to call it. And then we drove, but Sophia drove my white Lexus, you said Lexus, dude, okay, my white Lexus ES350 out to San Diego because, you know, the Arizona City House was just one exit out from the Interstate 8 that's a straight shot into San Diego through Yuma, and it's about 5.5 hour drive. I know, then to Encinitas is about 7, dude. And that's where we went. I ended up dropping her off at her friend's house in San Diego, and I went up to see my friend Richard. And we spent the week there in Southern California. And we done a lot of traveling together, dude. I know. So Sophia told you when you guys met in the kitchen and you were helping her move out of her house when she decided to leave Aaron and Empower Network, she told you in the kitchen, we would only be friends. I know. I said, I'm cool, dude. I know, because you paid Aaron and Sophia Rashkin $2,500 to attend the day in the office. I didn't have any romantic expectations of her. And even Chicago, when she was in the Arizona City House, when I used to talk about Sophia all the time, she said, you should just grab her and kiss her. She said that. Chicago said, just grab her. You know, that's the way you're going to find out if she's interested in you. Just grab her and kiss her. Dude, I told Chicago I am not going to grab Sophia and kiss her because she was my guru. And we have that understanding. We have our boundaries. And plus, I'm not really interested in her romantically, you know. I'm only interested in being friends as well. So we're kind of on the same wavelength. So what's going on today, dude? Well, today the temperature is 83 degrees. We're parked in front of the Glendale Starbucks and we're making a video in the middle of the day because we decided we're going to drive at night because there's less four-wheelers, less traffic, cooler, and we just sit in our car talking to ourselves all day and getting coffee every few minutes. And we make our videos right inside of our all-electric car. Well, geez, dude, it's just not much of a life. Dude, I know, but it's so friggin' hot outside. It almost feels like Phoenix, dude. It feels almost like Phoenix, but this is not Phoenix. I hear sirens, dude. I hear sirens. I know you hear sirens. Because you can hear shit even though you're non-physical. You're a metaphysical being who talks to me and I talk to you and no one else can see you. That's what's fucked up with this whole thing. People think I'm crazy because I'm the only one that can see you, so therefore I can't introduce you to any of my friends, my mother, my father, or anyone, even Chicago. Well, Chicago's in Japan right now, dude. I know. I know, but we could do a free video call if... Well, we could do a free video call if the subdued dude and the dude subdued. Dude, sometimes I wonder why I call you subdued, but because you're like part of the subconscious. No, you're not even part of the subconscious, dude. I know, and I don't even know what language you speak, dude. Well, dude, I speak English. Otherwise, how could we even talk? If I talk Japanese in the non-physical, metaphysical, woo-woo world, you wouldn't be able to understand me. But you could pray. Well, we could pray. We could pray in the non-physical world because that is where the true Buddha lives, dude. In the non-physical, metaphysical, woo-woo world. This has been quite a conversation, dude, but I gotta tell you, I'm kind of tripping out of this whole thing. What whole thing? Well, you know, I wasn't asking you to come into my world. You just popped up one day and you started talking to me and I was able to hear you. And I was kind of tripping out, dude, because I told some of my friends I was talking to a woo-woo, non-physical being, and I didn't say I was channeling you, but they just thought it was kind of weird. I know, they stopped talking to you. Your mom stopped talking to you. Even before your dad died, he stopped talking to you. Your two sisters don't talk to you. Well, I know, my one sister, Janet, contacted me a couple months ago, dude. She said, Kathy and I are on to you. You're lazy. I thought, oh my God. She went on to say, don't call mom and dad. Don't even talk to them. You have no idea what they're going through. It's like she was talking to me like I didn't even know my mom and dad. I saw my mom and dad every single home time between CRST 3 years and also 10 years or a decade in Arizona City. I saw my mother and father every single month, and my sister Janet is telling me I don't know my own folks. Well, she's trying to protect my mom from me, because Janet believes that you're just after her money and you can't even take care of yourself. And on top of that, dude, she believes, well, she's the one that talked my mom into selling the house. I know, because she's told my mom that I was a poor homeowner, and if she didn't sell the house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, that the house would basically disintegrate and become invisible in about a decade. Well, let's go to Japan, dude. What do you mean, let's go to Japan? I mean, I can go with you. Yeah, because you're my dude and I'm your subdude, so I have the power to transport you to Tokyo anytime I want to, because I'm a non-physical being in the woo-woo world, so I can actually bring you with me, because every subdude has a dude that they can, well, transport to other dimensions and other countries, and I have chosen you as my one dude on the earth that I can bring you along, and anywhere I go, including what do you mean that I can go into the non-physical world? Well, we won't do that. Let's start with Japan, dude. That's another thing, because I gotta take this in bite-sized pieces, dude, because what happens if I bring you into the woo-woo non-physical world and then I fuck up, and you can't go back to Earth, dude. I think that'd be like too much for me. So let's just let's go ahead and just let's take a break, dude. This has all been a little bit too much. I know you're trying to help me understand the woo-woo non-physical world, and I keep telling my Lyft riders I'm a metaphysical Forrest Gump, and you're just trying to help me, so I'm really a metaphysical Forrest Gump. And I know you just have the best of intentions, but I'm gonna push the stop button. This will become a video in our real physical world. In fact, a 1 terabyte phone, dude. Let's go ahead and push the button right now.
Sincere devotion to the founder of True Buddhism, Nichiren Daishonin, the boundlessly compassionate Buddha who revealed the true cause of original enlightenment, who possesses the 3 enlightened properties, and whose 3 enlightened properties comprise his single being, whose beneficence transcends the 3 existences, and who possesses the 3 virtues of sublime teacher and parent. I also express my heartfelt gratitude for his beneficence, and pray that his profound benevolent power may ever more widely prevail. Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo.
Every ride is documented. Like this week, all the way through when I started, I can go to my iPhone and go to ride number 1, ride number 2. I can go to any time this last 2 years and look at all the rides I picked up, the time I picked them up, the time I delivered them, how much I made that day. It's all documented. Yeah, so
in the iPhone, in your
yeah,
phone.
yeah. So what's good is for accountability to think, how did I, cause and effect? How did I get in this situation? And I can go back to when I sold my Prius, and then I worked in the summertime, and I can look at all the weeks and days of the summer and go, oh, no wonder I'm doing bad. Look at these weeks. Look at this day. Look at this week. I only worked $50, or I only worked 5 hours. It's a good way to hold you accountable, to understand your accountability. So everything is documented.
You can analyze the situation.
Yeah. So you can say, okay, I take responsibility because the reason I'm in this situation is because this summer when I sold my car and I paid all my bills, I paid my rent, I paid everything. Oh, you have to go? You're leaving? But anyway, my point is, it's all good. You're leaving the temple.
Now, so I live in this small room. I want to show you the Hongyoji temple.
Oh, okay. Okay.
In the early morning, is there any customers?
Oh yeah, there's customers 24 hours a day. That sometimes it's slower than others, but also the app tells me the best times to work. That- The app is a very good app. So you're walking into the big room?
Now I left the room. Now outside.
Oh, you're outside.
Yeah. Do you remember the Hongyoji building?
Oh yeah. Are you actually walking to the train?
Hongyoji. こんな感じで。
Oh wow.
The Hongyoji name.
Yeah.
Hongyoji. The sky tree, maybe sky tree.
Oh wow, there's a sky tree. Wow. I just walk from, and I can feel the cool wind coming off the lake, just very similar to what it feels like if I was standing on the ocean in Encinitas, California. I can feel the wind off the water, which gives a cooling feeling. And there's some shade here. Now up ahead there's a bench where my friend Sophia Rashkin, when she first left Aaron and walked away from the Empower business and became a shaman in a channel. I have lots of documentation of that because for me personally, that I paid her and her husband $2,500 or $1,000 a day to mentor with them here in Denver. I was sponsored by Dave Wood, the co-founder of Empower Network, who actually spoke here in Denver, July of 2013. And when I was driving through Denver, this is part of the backstory, with my night transportation truck, I just contacted Sophia via Facebook. This is after I had gone through the day in the office. And all I said was, "Is everything okay with you and Aaron?" She replied back with her personal number. I called it. She said, "We need to talk." And then I happened to be on an overnight break. So she said, "There's a Walmart by that day in the office home and our home. Why don't you meet me there? I can pick you there up in 30 minutes. So I parked my truck there and she drove up with her Mercedes and she took me not to the day in the office home. They had two side-by-side homes, but instead to their personal home. And I didn't know what was going on. So she sat down with me that day and talked to me for 7 hours alone. And what was funny is I paid her $1,000 to be with a dozen people for a day, and she sat and talked to me for a whole day about being a shaman and a channel and what happened between her and Aaron, which resulted in she leaving the business and going in a completely different direction. And she told me she wanted me to be a part of it and we'd be traveling together, and we did for at least a few years. She in fact flew out once to Phoenix and stayed in Chicago's old room. And we've done NCS together. We've gone all over. In fact, after I was fired, she drove from Denver through Mojave to Mexican Hat, and I recorded the conversation we had. Now this is where I think she was sitting when she did a thing called, or it was maybe the bench up here, but she did a video on her YouTube channel called Unliving the American Dream, but it was definitely right here in Smith Lake. I might cut to that because I can actually talk and then go to my video, because this is a 1 terabyte phone, and cut to anything I want to. So I might do that right now. Wow, there's a sky tree where we met. Show me that again. Look how close that is. Wow, and here's the front door. Wow. Wow, this.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Hello. Konnichiwa. Konnichiwa. Happy New Year. Konnichiwa. Wow. Hello. 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 Hello.
あ、そうなんです。いや。あれ？トラックのね。あ、そう、トラックの方です。あれ。
Oh, wonderful.
So she remember about you.
Oh.
You truck driver. She remembers.
Yeah, she looked familiar. Yeah. Well, this was better than being at your house. I got to see the temple.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do the temple meetings more often.
Sometime.
Yeah. So are you going to? Are you going to?
decide the next meeting.
Okay. When's the next meeting?
Maybe. Tomorrow again 11 o'clock will be fine for you. Tomorrow 11 for me, so same time tomorrow.
Okay.
7.
Okay. 7 o'clock tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Okay, my friend. I'll let you go. Thank you for showing me the temple.
Yeah. See you tomorrow.
Okay. Bye-bye. Have a good day. Okay. Bye-bye. I'm just kidding. Okay. Your name is
Eli.
Eli.
Levi.
Levi.
Saul.
So what did it? Now, just real quick. How did you guys meet?
We met through camp, and we met him through being in the same neighborhood. Yeah, we just kind of live around.
And are you guys still in school?
Yeah.
Where do you go to school? South? Southwest?
South.
You mean where like the wealthy homes are down?
No, like we all go to South.
Okay.
It's just like a school. It's like
South, not South.
No. Yeah.
Okay, got you. So anyway, I asked you how is life, in a couple words. How is life for you now? This is the year 2025. Do you realize that there was once a year 2000, and like Jacob, who's one of the evening managers, he's 25. He was born in 2000.
Wow. Crazy.
And I was born in 1953.
It doesn't look like it. You don't show a day.
I don't lack 70.
No, not at all.
Because I'm really 30 in my heart. See, you can be 70 with a gray beard, but you could be 30 in your psyche.
Yeah.
So the question I want to ask you, how many 70-year-olds do you know drove 1 million miles in a truck, went to Japan 5 times in 2 years, have made 3,000 one-hour film collage documentaries, and make 4 one-hour film collage documentaries a day?
I only know.
That's the answer everybody gives me.
Yeah.
So anyway, is it cool for me to show you on the front end?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, now what you can do to help me is share that with your friends. I'll put you on the front end. They don't have to watch the rest of it. And all that'll happen is when you watch the video, I'll send you a link. Yeah. You just click share, and you can put copy and just send it to someone.
Yeah. All right, yeah.
Is that cool?
Yeah. All right.
And if you think of anything else you want on the video, I'm going to be inside making one. Just let me know.
Okay.
So you guys are the stars of my April 19th, 2025 video. Thanks for joining and thanks for being subscribed.
Yeah.
I got triple subscribers at one.
Yeah, 3 subscribers. Subscribe to Driving to Tokyo.
Yeah. I'll see you guys. Thanks.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
Yeah, nice meeting you. Yes, thank you. I'm holding my camera and I'm talking to my camera and I didn't push the record button. I didn't push the record button. Adam and Lou just walked in. Maybe they're working this afternoon. I think they are. That's cool. I have a nice recording. Speaking of Adam and Lou, I stayed after they closed at 10 o'clock, and I have about 3 minutes recording. I think I'm going to patch in. This is daytime hours now. And I'd like you to see me with 2 of my new best friends. Before I came here a second time, the spring of 2022, I did not know Adam and Lou. In fact, Lou is the daughter of Eric, who owns the St. Marshall with his wife, Tina. And she was born, and she's about the same age as the coffee shop. And it looks like Adam and Lou are working this afternoon. It looks like Gino's getting off. So I think I'm gonna go inside. I'm gonna go to work this afternoon about 3:30 or 4, and I have to work till midnight, and I have to pull out, being able to cover my $108 check for my cell phone. If I don't cover it, it's not gonna be good. But if I cover it, it'll be fine. I'm covering my $380 lease. I've just got my last $21. And then I'm going to have today, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to close out the week. But the main thing is covering my phone. Because I need my phone for my Lyft app. I need my phone for my iMovie. I need my phone for making my movies. Actually, I can, as far as the service is concerned, I don't need the T-Mobile service to make videos. I can make videos without an internet connection, without the service. However, I need my phone for my Lyft app. It'd be real difficult to build my business or make money. I could technically go and a Wi-Fi connection and go in and out of here, I guess. But it wouldn't work because I need an internet connection. So I'm gonna go inside and make this video right now.